Good morning, traders! What's up and what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Money Tuesday! That's right, baby. It is Money Tuesday, March 15th, 9 o'clock in the morning. And my goodness, we have some action here in pre-market today. Today's going to be a fun day, team. Today is going to be an exciting day full of profits. We've been absolutely on fire for the month of March. Every single day seeing some great, consistent profits here inside of chat. So let's keep up the great work. Let's keep this momentum going, and let's have another awesome day full of some big time profits. Hit me with a big old good morning. How we guys doing today? Cole, good morning. Mr. Steve, good morning. Let's get it. Let's do it, team. Let's hit it hard today. We are not holding back. We are not letting off that gas pedal. We are going to make today an even better day than yesterday. So I'm excited, guys. I'm always excited. I'm always fired up to be here to work with each and every one of you, the best trading community in the world, because you guys make it the best. So again, you guys always fire me up and motivate me to come in, work hard. See you guys locking some great profits and locking in some great profits myself as well. Dougie Fresh, what's up, buddy? Good morning, Mr. John, Crypto Cole, Don Tino, Steve, J. Doss, Spaz, Arlene, Jamie, Kits, King, Matt, Trader Girl, Beth, Barbie. My goodness, we got everybody inside of chat this morning. Everybody is here, ready to rock, ready to roll, to make today an awesome day. I'm excited, guys, and we are going to make it happen. What's up over on YouTube? We got Mr. Ed Nevis, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mutas, 185 coming in from the left corner. Mutas, what's up, buddy? Marvin, Steve, Thanos, Raymond, Brian, good morning, good morning. How we all doing this morning? Hopefully you guys are having a great morning. Hope you guys had a great Monday night and that you guys were able to lock in some great profits yesterday in the market. Now, yesterday was a pretty, I would say, inconsistent, choppy day, right out of the gate. At least the first 30 minutes to an hour. The market was kind of choppy. It was inconsistent. We saw a lot of really good setups fail and not really work on out. Really took until about, what, 10:30, guys? Until we actually saw some of these really good setups play on out. I think it was AGRI for the cup and handle breakouts. I was trading, can't remember the other stock. Again, this is why we got to log our trades. I need to go back and look at my journal because I don't even remember what I traded yesterday. I think I traded like AGRI 3 times. Wasn't that the big cup and handle breakout yesterday? Nah, it wasn't. I can't remember what stock was that really nice cup and handle formation from yesterday. I'm drawing a blank today. I woke up and I feel under the weather again. I'm like, dude, just when I started feeling better, I'm like, man, now I feel foggy again. I feel under the weather. This sucks. Can't even remember what the top stocks were yesterday. But again, you know, it took until about what? 10:15, 10:30. Things started to calm down. Found support, started moving on up, giving us great setups. I mean, we had a pretty decent day yesterday in the market, but again, that first 30 minutes to an hour was choppy, right? Remember MULN, couple back-to-back good setups that just failed. It faded, it fell all day on MULN, and then it finally got a little bit of a bounce back up in power hour, but again, it wasn't too hot. It wasn't really moving clean and consistent. So I'm pointing that out because we have to really be mindful of market conditions, right? So from my experience when it comes to penny stocks is whatever happens on Monday, that usually sets the tone for the rest of the week. So if we have a really hot Monday and stocks are ripping and running, usually the rest of that week we continue to see those same market conditions. Hot stocks, a lot of stocks ripping and running. When we see really choppy, nasty market conditions on a Monday, normally that sets the tone. I'm not saying that's the case today. I'm saying that's something to be mindful of. Is yesterday could have set the tone for the rest of the week. And if that tone has been set, what can we expect if it's going to be similar to yesterday? Maybe that first 30 minutes to an hour, decent setups that don't work out, right? That's what we saw yesterday. Decent setups, not working on out, things really just choppy and inconsistent. Then things really started to set themselves up right around 10:30, 11 o'clock. And that's when I was personally able to lock in some of my big time profits, was later in the afternoon before lunch. So that's kind of my mindset coming into the day, is I'm going to really tread lightly. I'm going to be smart. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to take a step back at 9:30 and make sure that the market's going to prove itself, right? Is it going to be the same as yesterday to where maybe I should not trade until after 10 o'clock and wait for all of that chop to die on off? Or is today going to be a completely different day? We don't know until the market opens at 9:30, but I am going to be mindful about what took place yesterday and just be mindful of that approaching the market at 9:30. So again, I'm not taking any aggressive trades out of the gate just to watch them fade and fall and fail and not work out. All right, so be mindful about yesterday. Not saying today's going to be the same, but again, we very well could see similar market conditions as the tone could be set for the rest of the week. And at least we're one step ahead and we're more prepared than what we were this morning. All right, guys, so what stocks have the best potential to rip and run today? What are the top stocks that we will be watching and why? Well, number one, we're definitely going to be watching HYMC. So what's going on with HYMC? HYMC is currently up 99%, trading 56 million shares. On average, the stock trades 14 million shares, 60 million in flow. We have a lot of volume, huge gap up. I mean, nice, clean, and consistent movement here in pre-market. Why is this stock up right now 100% here in pre-market? Well, this morning they issued a press release that they're getting a $56 million investment from AMC. So I guess, you know, people that are mining, they're going to be watching movies at the same time, right? So that doesn't make sense. It's a good press release, but like Beth said, it doesn't really make sense. Mining company, entertainment company. What's going to happen? People are out there mining and you're going to just stream some movies to them? I don't know what's going to take place. But again, that's besides the point. We're just going to look at the press release, and we have a decent press release here, right? They're receiving a large sum of money, a $56 million investment from Eric Sprott, AMC Entertainment. I think it's their CEO. So we have a good press release. That's why the stock's up 100%. Again, the float's not too large. We know the stock can rip and run. I mean, look at last week from Thursday and Friday. This stock was under $1, hit highs of $2.65. So even though the float's 60 million in float, we know that this stock can rip 50 cents to $1 at a time. So I definitely want to be watching HYMC today as our number one stock. So again, that spiking high from Friday was $2.65. You saw that we struggled a little bit this morning, right around that $2.65. A little bit of false breakout, couldn't hold it, came back up, really struggling to break above, but we finally just broke above that $2.65. We had a decent little pullback, nice little retest, and we could absolutely start to see that push above $2.65 up to 3, and then our next target would be $3.37. So right now we have some decent support right around that $2.65. If we do crack below $2.65, we do have room back down to $2.35, and if we crack below $2.35, the next best level of support is between $1.90 and $2. So ideally, in a perfect world, to see this stock just open on up, get a nice big spike over 3 to 3.30 would be to hold above and stay above that $2.65 level of support, and that is last Friday's spiking high on HYMC. So definitely out of the gate, I want to keep the stock on high watch. If we open on up and we just start to see volume move in for a break, we can expect to see a nice little break over pre-market highs over 3 up to 3.30. But if we do indeed see some profit taking, right, which is very common, there are some traders maybe still in this stock. Maybe they're bag holding the stock from Thursday, Friday. Now they have an opportunity, can't even talk today. That's how foggy I am, not feeling great. Again, they have an opportunity to lock in some profits. Again, we are above Friday spiking high. So again, if there's a lot of bag holders on this stock, what do you think they're going to want to do? Maybe take profits, or maybe people that were swing trading this from $1 to $1.50, or just last night, the stock's up 109%. I'm sorry, 98%. So again, you may see some profit taking out of the gate. So if we do see some profit taking out of the gate, we could see it back down to that 235 level for a nice little washout long scalp back up to 265. So there's a couple opportunities we have. Option one, we open, we stay above 265, and we see that immediate rip back up to pre-market highs, up to 3 and then 330. Stops would be below 265. Or we open up, we dump on off, we see a little bit of that washout long, pulling the stock back down towards around 235, and we can get a nice little washout long dip buy opportunity here on HYMC, right? So definitely out of the gate, HYMC is number one. Cole, is anyone else having connection issues? What are you having connection issues with? Chat, live stream, we're doing some work behind the scenes. That could be the issue. Just go ahead and let me know exactly what type of connection issue that you're having. So again, team, HYMC is going to be the top stock we watch right out of the gate. Number two, I would say let's watch TMC. Beth pointed out TMC this morning. Very nice momentum play, right? We've been building up, ripping on up decently from $2 to $3.45 over the past 5 trading sessions. I definitely want to keep TMC on watch to see if we can get a nice break and hold above 320. So if we can get a nice break and hold above 320, we could absolutely see TMC back up towards around these pre-market highs of 345. Anything over those pre-market highs of 345, our next big level of resistance is going to be $4. So right now, we tried to break above that 320 in pre-market. We failed to stay above, and now we're looking like we're going to roll on over. Right now, there's definitely not a lot of great opportunity. There is no reason to be buying the stock at this point in time. But again, put it on your watch list. It's a great back burner momentum play. If we do break and hold above 320, we can see that pop back up to 345, 350, and then up towards around $4 on TMC. So definitely watch TMC. It could continue to move to the upside as it's been a pretty decent momentum play over the past week and a half. MULN is definitely a top stock I want to watch again today. Not a lot of opportunity yesterday. MULN was that choppy, inconsistent stock out of the gate, dumped on off to 154, popped back up towards the end of the day into the 190s, and then it really just started to form this really big downtrend, right? So we see we have 154 support from pre-market yesterday, intraday yesterday, and then we have some pre-market support as well right now today. Massive downtrend. MULN is on high watch right out of the gate, guys. We're sitting right at support. If we see this stock bring in some volume and we have some buyers move in right at this level of support, followed by a break of the downtrend, we could see that next leg up and this stock could absolutely rip and run. So with that being said, 154 support. If you guys were looking to take this trade, I would put stops below 150. Wait for the break of the downtrend on high volume. If we see that break of the downtrend on high volume, that would signal an entry. Stops would be below that level of support, right? That level of support would be right around 152 to 154. To play it safe, to give the stock enough breathing room, you could safely put stops below 150. And here are your targets. You would have some potential back up towards around 172 to 175. If we ever break over that 175 level, we have room to 181. Over 181, we could see this back up towards around 193 to 194. And then anything over that 193 to 194 level, we have resistance at 2 and then 209, yesterday's highs. Now, if this stock ever gets a break over 2 and 209, your next level of resistance is going to be the 50 SMA right around 250. So again, you have a great risk reward trade. Even the first target is pretty decent. But again, we have potential into the 180s, 192 to 194, and then back up towards around yesterday's highs, 2 to 209. And a break over 2 to 209, we could see this rip and run up into the 250s, which is right around that 50 SMA. Now, if we do crack below this level of support in 150, we'll probably see it fade and fall all the way back down towards 122. So that's why I'm saying put your stops just a penny or two below 150. Give it some breathing room, and this is a stock that could slowly grind all the way back up towards around top resistance, 2 to 209 today. And if we do get that strong break over 2 and 209, 150 next on MULN. Definitely a top stock I want to be watching right out of the gate. Next, AGRI, right? AGRI was a nice little play yesterday. This stock had some decent movement yesterday up towards around 486. And then again, this was a great little trade from post-market into pre-market. This stock ended up hitting highs of $5. One thing that we do notice though is we had a decent little uptrend that we just cracked. So we went from the bullish side of the uptrend to the bearish side of the uptrend, or to the bearish side of the uptrend, right? We do have some support right around 385 on AGRI. Bottom support would be back down towards around yesterday's lows of 350. So right now we have support between 350 and 385. And this stock does have some potential, right? We could see AGRI make another move today. Right now in pre-market, not looking the best. But again, I do want to keep AGRI on watch just to see if we do see some buyers move in right around that 385 level of support. And if we do indeed see some kind of reversal, we see buyers starting to step back in, we could absolutely see AGRI back up to 450, $5. And if this stock ever breaks $5, we do have some potential up towards around 550. So again, right now, there's not a lot of opportunity with AGRI in pre-market, but it's definitely a stock that I think we should keep on watch just to see if we do hold above that 385. Looking to see if we get some buying volume to move back in, and we could see another nice green day to the upside here on AGRI. So that's another top stock that I do want to keep on watch, okay? So again, the top stocks that I want to be watching right out of the gate. Number one, HYMC. 80% of my focus out of the gates at the start of the day is going to be HYMC, followed by TMC, right? I'm like 50-50 with it, but it's worth watching. It has opportunity. There is some potential. MULN is probably my number 2 pick, right? That's where I'm going to put a lot of my focus, right? HYMC gets a majority of my focus, followed by MULN number 2 that I definitely want to watch off to the side, all right? And then lastly, AGRI. So these 4 stocks I do want to keep on watch, and this is in order. HYMC is number 1. MULN is number 2. AGRI is number 3. And then TMC is number 4. So these are going to be the top 4 stocks in order that I want to be watching right at the start of the day. Now, again, this watch list can completely change. We could see these stocks fade and fall and do nothing. And we could see traders move over to one of our back burner plays today. So we have about 4 to 5 stocks currently on our back burner watch list that do have opportunity, that do show potential for today. CTK, I do want to keep the stock on watch. We are moving on up off earnings. Okay, so CTK, I do want to watch this above 25 cents. And if we do start to see some volume step on in, we do have potential back up to those pre-market highs of 36 cents. And I would actually bring that level down just a little bit right into that 50 SMA, right? So I would say 33 cents to 36 cents would be that main level of resistance here on CTK. And again, we're currently gapping up with some decent volume off of earnings. 25 cent support, 33 to 36 cents resistance. Right now, I still think HYMC has better opportunity. Obviously, MULN has better opportunity. We just broke the downtrend with volume. We already hit our first target within 5 minutes. So definitely still thinking we have better opportunity right out of the gate, but CTK could definitely be that stock that gets some action and has a nice little green day as well. 33 cents and then 36 cents top resistance. If we ever start breaking over that 36 cent level, we could see this up towards around 40 cents next on CTK. So definitely a stock that I want to keep on watch, but right now at this point in time, it is a back burner play. Another back burner play is going to be ITP. Same thing to CTK, right? It's moving up on earnings. We have decent volume, and this stock could definitely do something today. Want to keep this one on watch around that 25 cent level, 25 cent support. And we do have potential back up towards around those pre-market highs of 32 cents. If we ever break over 32 cents, your main level of resistance would be the 200 SMA, right around 34 cents. So again, another stock moving up on earnings, decent volume, back burner play, just to see if the stock can stay above 25 cents. And get that move back up towards around pre-market highs of 32 cents on ITP. This is far on the back burner. Like AVGR is like the least of my worries. Far on the back burner, but it's still a stock that I just want to be mindful of. Why do I even want to be mindful of AVGR? Well, it was a 1 to 20 reverse stock split. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't really mean a lot, right? A 1 to 20 reverse stock split. Basically, companies will do reverse stock splits to get their share price over $1 to meet NASDAQ requirements. So companies will do 1 to 10, 1 to 15, 1 to 20, 1 to 30 reverse stock splits. Normally they do these to regain compliance with NASDAQ requirements, right? So why do we even want to watch AVGR, right? Why would we even want to watch this stock? Well, back in the day, right, a couple of years ago, when we would get these reverse stock splits, every now and then these stocks would go parabolic, right? Now, we haven't really seen a reverse stock split rip and run in about 2 years, but again, it has potential. The market is warming back up. There is more volume, there is more activity in the small cap market, right? And AVGR could rip and run. I'm not saying it's going to, but I want to keep it on the back burner just in case it does start to pick up with some volume. The last stock that I remember trading, and this stock went absolutely parabolic off of just a reverse stock split, literally nothing else besides a reverse stock split, was MYO a couple years ago. I remember seeing that 1 to 30 reverse stock split, and that day it went from $7 all the way to $35 in a single day. And the only reason it ripped $30 to the upside was because it had a reverse stock split. So I remember MYO. I remember a lot of these stocks a couple years ago that absolutely ripped and ran off of a reverse stock split. But again, it's been 2 years since we've seen that. So I highly doubt AVGR is going to make any kind of substantial move, but you never know. The market's crazy. The market does what the market wants to do. That's why I still think we should keep AVGR on watch just to see if it gets volume. If it does get volume and it's above $5, we could see it move, and we definitely need to be mindful of it and understand why it would be moving. And the only reason this would be moving is off of that reverse stock split. And let's see if it does get some activity. Let's see if there is any attention today with AVGR. If not, we'll simply take it off the watch list, guys. It's that easy. If it's not doing anything, which it's probably not going to, we take it off the watch list. But if it does start moving, we're prepared. We know exactly what could take place, and we can take advantage of the potential opportunity today with AVGR. So very far on the back burner, not really paying too much attention to it. Every now and then I'll take a peek at it, see what it's doing, but I don't think it's gonna do too much, but we shall see. And then we have IXHL. This is a back burner play. And the reason it's a back burner play is there's no credibility. There is no catalyst as to why this stock is up 210%. It's literally trading 70,000 shares. I mean, there is no volume, right? It's up 210% with no reason, no catalyst. Why would we really want to be focused on the stock out of the gate? It's a high risk play, very, very risky. This stock can dump on off back down to $10. This could be a high reward play. I mean, this stock could go to $200. You never know. These types of stocks, low volume, low liquidity, large spreads, we've seen these stocks do some crazy things before. What was the last stock that went from $5 to $100? And all it did was squeeze on up, halt. Gap up, squeeze into a halt. Gap up, squeeze into a halt. And it did that all day, all the way up to $100, right? High risk plays, but also high reward. We call these FOMO trades, right? We're not FOMOing in, but we take what we call FOMO size. We're not taking 1,000 shares. We're not taking 100 shares. We're taking like 5 to 10 shares just to see if this stock does go $50 to the upside, $100 to the upside. But if it dumps on off, if it does nothing, again, you have 10 shares on the table, you may lose like $50, $100. But if it does make that $50 move, $100 move, you could get $500 to $1,000 on 10 shares. Again, we take FOMO size on these types of trades. Stocks that are gapping up 200% with no news, low volume, low liquidity. We already know what these stocks can do. They could rip and run, they can dump on off. So we do want to keep it on watch just to see if this is one of those random weird stocks that do indeed just halt and gap up, halt, gap up, halt, gap up all day. And we'll see if this stock does indeed make a move to the upside. And if it does, I may throw like 20 shares at it, 10 shares at it, right? A FOMO trade just to see what takes place. But it's not something that I'm really going to take too seriously. It's just one of those FOMO trades. You're not FOMOing in. So I want to clarify that, but we take what we call FOMO size. It's not a legitimate trade. It doesn't have a legitimate reason to be moving. It's very, very high risk. It could be high reward. So if you do want to get your feet wet, maybe take a share, 5 shares, 10 shares, and see what happens with IXHL. But right now, it is a back burner play. Okay, guys? So again, back burners, IXHL, AVGR, ITP, and CTK. Top stocks we're watching out of the gate. HYMC number 1, MULN number 2, TMC number 3, AGRI number 4. And then lastly, I'm sure you guys are going to be asking about RCAT. RCAT, gapping down like we thought. What did we say? A lot of these top gaining stocks are gapping down day 2, sitting sideways, and then on day 3, setting up for a possible mid-candle breakout. I would not swing RCAT because, again, these top gaining stocks tend to gap down on day 2 and then they rip on day 3 off a mid-candle breakout. That's exactly what we're seeing with RCAT. Great news yesterday. Great news. Department of Defense, I think, was a Department of Defense contract with RCAT. So phenomenal news. We are gapping down right in the middle of yesterday's big green day. So if we see this sit sideways today, we could absolutely see a mid-candle breakout tomorrow and see a big time rip and run. So I do want to keep RCAT on watch today. And if it does indeed start setting up and it looks good for a mid-candle breakout towards the end of the day for tomorrow, I may swing trade this, because what have we been seeing? We're not seeing the gap down and then the explosive move. We're actually seeing a slight gap up and then an explosive move. So I may consider swing trading RCAT tonight into tomorrow if we do look good for a possible mid-candle breakout towards the end of today's trading session. So definitely be watching RCAT. All right, guys. And then obviously we're watching the SPY and the Qs. All right. So again, that's really where our focus has been while the market's very volatile, very erratic, is we're simply watching the SPY and the Qs. Right now, the SPY has resistance at 420. If we break and hold above 420, we have room to yesterday's highs between 224.30 and 425. So again, yesterday's highs, 424.30 to 425 resistance if we break and hold above 420. Then, if we break and hold above that 425, we could absolutely see this back up towards around 429 to 430. That's going to put you right around our 20 EMA resistance and downtrend resistance as well. However, let's say we don't break and hold above 420 and we're not going long. Let's say it's a better short opportunity. Well, if we can't break and hold above 420, we could look to short this back down to 415 and then 410 over on the SPY. All right, guys. So again, that 420 is a key level. If we're rejecting off 420 and we can't break above, we should look to short this back down towards around yesterday's lows, 416, and then pre-market lows right around 413.61. Below those pre-market lows, we could see this as low as 410.75, and I'm still leaning to the short side. But you need to have a long plan in place as well, just in case we do see the break and hold above 420. You don't want to short that. You want to go long on it. And again, you could take that long for about 4 to 5 points to the upside here on the SPY. All right, so we're still watching the SPY like we have been doing the past couple of months, trading options on the SPY, trading options on the Qs, locking in some great consistent profits. The VIX right now slowly pulling back down, but we're still holding strong above 30. Still a lot of fear and uncertainty in the market. Again, you guys know that I trade UVXY. So if we do get a good short opportunity on the SPY today, I would be looking to go long on UVXY. And then I'm still watching oil. Right? I'm still just watching oil to see if we do indeed start to get a bounce and a move back up. Because if we start to see oil bounce back above 100 and we start seeing this move again aggressively, 110, 120, 130, we could see those small cap oil stocks get some action as well. So I'm still being mindful of what oil's doing to see if that brings some attention and focus back on over to these small cap oil stocks. But for today, HYMC, MULN, TMC, and AGRI are going to be the top stocks that we're watching right out of the gate. So let's take a vote. What stock do you guys think is going to be the best stock of the day? Do you think it's going to be AGRI? Do you think it's going to be MULN? Do you think the number one stock today is going to be HYMC? Do you think the number one stock today is going to be TMC? Do you think it's going to be the SPY in the Qs? Or do you think it's going to be one of these back burner stocks like IXHL, that FOMO trade, right? So go ahead and cast your votes. Ladies and gentlemen, the poll is in. Cast your votes. What are you guys thinking is going to be the top stock of the day? AGRI, HYMC, TMC, MULN, back burner play, or the SPY and the Qs? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Let's go ahead and get fired up. The market is now open. Let's make it happen, guys. I'm saying HYMC out of the gate. Number one stock that I'm still watching right out of the gate is still, at this time, going to be HYMC. But what are you guys thinking? We have 71% of chat saying HYMC. 71% of chat. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be watching HYMC right now. Support's back down at 235. So I want you guys watching MULN as well. So we broke the downtrend there in pre-market. You hit first target in the 170s. As long as we stay above the VWAP, and as long as we can hold that downtrend resistance as new support, we could see this curl on back up and continue higher. So definitely watch this around VWAP and that downtrend and see if this can hold on up as a level of support for that next leg higher. But again, right now, my number one pick is HYMC. Let's go look at some of these back burners as well. You already have IXHL. This stock is already halted to the upside. Again, this thing could just rip $100. Just halt, gap up, and you could see that play on out pretty much all day. But definitely, guys, we're on the same page. HYMC is that one stock that we should really just be focused on right now. Okay, if we start to see TMC rip and run, MULN, maybe AGRI, we'll shift our attention over there. But right now, at this point in time, it's safe to say that 70 to 80% of the focus in the market is currently on HYMC. So maybe we start to see a little bit of a red to green move, right? Maybe a slight red to green move if we still pull back on decreasing volume into a level of support and we start to see that U-shape, we could absolutely start to see a possible red to green move, guys. Matt, yes, I am photoshopping everything right now, right? So I'm going to Photoshop my profits today. I'm going to Photoshop just everything. Matt. So again, we said that we'll probably get some profit taking on HYMC out of the gate, right? It's up 100%. Probably a lot of bag holders on the stock. What do you think is going to happen when it opens? People closing their positions, taking profits. Again, the stock's up over 100%. So we're seeing that initial profit taking. We're pulling back into our 235 support. This is what we want to see here, right? Here on HYMC, all we want to see the stock do is just U-shape off this level of support, right? So come on down, find that level of support, get a nice little U-shape, and if we start to see some buying volume move back in, we could look to take this long off support for that possible U-shape breakout up towards around 297 and then $3 here on HYMC. So right now, again, we want to keep this one on high watch, right around that 235 level. If it does indeed find that U-shape and form that U-shape right above 235, we could absolutely see a decent little red to green move. So entries would be as close to 235 as possible. Stop losses would be under 230. Right, so your target would be 265 to 270, right? So right around 265 to 270 resistance. Stops would be underneath low of day or 230, so you have a decent little 2-to-1 setup. Decent little 2-to-1, but like I said personally, what I'm doing out of the gate is I'm sitting back. Right? I'm not trading anything right out of the gate because what did we see yesterday? We saw decent setups that were confirming. They were validated with volume. The technicals were spot on. They failed to make the moves, right? It was very choppy, very nasty price action. Nothing played on out the first 30 minutes of the day. So if that tone has been set, we would probably see the same thing take place today, right? Good setups forming, technicals in place, false moves, failed moves. Again, I do not want to take a trade out of the gate just to get caught up in chop in a nasty setup. So again, I'm personally sitting back, waiting to see what happens the first maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And if I do take a trade, it would be very small size just in case it's a failed move. It's not a big loss on my part. MULN looking to be a red to green move, guys. So decreasing volume pullback, you're starting to see some buying volume move in, back above the 9 EMA, back above the VWAP, back above that downtrend. So right now, stops on MULN would be below 155. I'd put stops right around 150. If we start to see this red to green move, we have potential back up to 175, 181, and then 192 on MULN. And right now, looking like a beautiful red to green move on MULN. So MULN is trying to get that red to green move, guys. Looking to break the open. If it does, you can see a quick spike to the 170s and the 180s. You got about every 10 cents as resistance here on MULN. If it does get that nice big explosive move over the open, would definitely be a nice little red to green move formation up to 175 in the 180s and then the 190s there on MULN. Right now, it's kind of just struggling. It's stalling right at the open, not really getting that big time breakout. But if it does, this thing's going to start really ripping and running, guys. Up into the 175s and the 180s on MULN. Prior day mover, momentum play, nice little red to green move. Broke the downtrend in pre-markets. Looking like it has some decent potential to get that nice little rip and run here on MULN. Cost basis, 166 for me. I'm looking to scalp this up to 175. If we get that nice red to green move and it does break about 5 to 10 cents, I'm looking to scalp this up into the 170s if we can get that quick little pop over the open. But it's struggling, guys. It's just sitting right at 167. It's not budging off 167. It could indeed really start to pull back here. It may not be ready, guys. And you got a lot of sellers really starting to step on in. A lot of selling at 168 with very little buying compared to the selling. So it may start pulling back here on MULN. Again, a lot of selling starting to step up to the plate, but not a lot of buyers to really push through that wall of selling at 168. So right now it's definitely struggling a little bit. If it doesn't start to break back above 170 here in the next few moments, we'll probably start to see it pull back, and I'll go ahead and get out at break even on MULN. It was worth a shot. So I'm going to go ahead and get out at break even on MULN. It was worth giving it a go for that rip about 10 cents over the open. It wasn't getting that pop. So I went ahead and just closed out at break even, guys. So again, IXHL still halted. Looks like it's going to be a 10-minute halt. That should be live in the next about 60 seconds there. A lot of these back burner stocks not doing too much. HYMC, again, what could have been a decent red to green move. I wasn't really wanting to take it because, again, yesterday we saw a lot of choppiness out of the gate. So again, HYMC, never took it because we never really started to see that increased volume move in for the red to green move. So no entries on HYMC. We still have room back down to 190. I still absolutely want to keep MULN on high watch here, guys. Again, we broke that downtrend right in pre-market. We lost the downtrend here at the open, but we did just pop back above that downtrend as support. And we do have the VWAP holding the stock up as support as well. So I still want to keep MULN on very high watch here, guys. Again, you have potential back up to 173 to 175. And then you could see this back up towards around 182 to 185, and then back up into the 190s. So again, about every 10 cents, you're going to run into a little bit of a resistance. So I would be telling you guys to lock in some profits about every 10 cents along the way up, just in case it does not get that clean break into the 190s up to 2. You can still be locking in some great profits, running a very nice tight trailing stop loss on MULN, just in case we do hit one of those levels and we just start fading on off. So again, right now at this point in time, the number one stock that I'm currently watching is going to be MULN team. Again, I got out for right around break even. I was looking for that quick little pop on up, but it looks like we may start to get that little break on up here. We have a lot of buyers starting to step on in. I'm going to go ahead and jump back in on MULN just to see if we do start to get that break over that 170 as we're starting to form a higher low above the VWAP. We saw that volume starting to move back in. We could absolutely see a quick little break over that high back up into the 170s. Like I said, I'm not being extremely aggressive out of the gate because I do realize decent setups not working out the first 30 to 45 minutes out of the gate, especially yesterday. So again, why am I not jumping in with, say, 10,000 shares or 5,000 shares? Because again, I realize the market's been a little bit choppy out of the gate and we're not seeing those follow throughs. We're not seeing these setups actually follow through and play on out. Again, just pretty nasty price action. Things not really making sense the first 30 to 45 minutes. But again, we saw everything really clean itself up right around 10:30 yesterday, and we had some really good opportunities yesterday right around 10:30. So I'm going to take a stab, and I did take a little stab here with MULN. I was looking to see if that was going to be a nice little pullback into the VWAP, and then that follow through for that break up over 170 into the 173s for a quick little scalp there. But right now, it's just 50-50. So again, right now, not really getting that reversal, not getting that continuation move. And everything was looking pretty decent, right? Nice decreasing volume pullback, nice red to green move attempt, increasing volume along the move up, nice little pullback into the downtrend support, VWAP support, and then we saw the attempted follow through right here. So we started to see buyers move back in, volume was increasing. I took that trade for the follow through up into the 170s. Again, it just rolled on over, kind of like what it was doing yesterday. So again, I cut it very, very quick, and I never took really aggressive size in the beginning to take a big loss. I'm only down 180 just to see if that was going to follow through for a quick little scalp to the upside. It didn't work out. I cut it really quick. I'm down 180. So let's see what HYMC does right around this 190 to $2 support level. So again, we do have that 190, the $2 support on HYMC. Let's see if we start to set up for a possible reversal here on HYMC. So I would like to see the SPY pop back up and retest 420. So again, we had a false breakout over 420. We tried the bounce and we failed. I'd like to see this pop back up towards around that 420 and properly retest 420 as intraday resistance. If we see that bounce on up to 420 and we see it being held down as resistance, I would be looking to take puts down towards around 416 and then 415 here on the SPY. So right now I'm going to shift my attention over to the SPY and the Qs because we're starting to see exactly what we saw yesterday with penny stocks out of the gate. Couple decent setups, right? Technicals are being validated. Things look like they could follow through and start ripping to the upside. Very choppy, inconsistent, a lot of failed attempts. So again, yesterday, 30 to 45 minutes until things really started to set on up. Let's go ahead and just shift our attention to the SPY and the Qs right now, bring our attention back over to penny stocks around 10 o'clock and see if things are ideally setting up for us at that point in time. But right now, back up to 420 on the SPY, looking for that retest. Old support, new resistance. If we do see that retest of 420 resistance, and we do start to see it roll back over, I would be looking to go long on UVXY. You guys could be looking to take puts on the SPY if you guys would like. So if we have a target of 416, maybe you guys jump in to tomorrow's expiration, you grab a 416 put. They're pretty expensive though, guys. They're actually pretty pricey. They're about $300 a piece. And that's a 41 delta. So let's say you dropped it down a little bit and you go with a 30 delta. The volume is okay. The open interest is okay. Not ideal, but the spread's nice and tight. You're running with a 30 delta, a 413 strike to the short side, a 413 put. They're a little bit less expensive. They're about $230 a contract. And that would still pay if you got that nice little $4 drop to the downside. But again, I have to wait for that 420 retest on the SPY before I personally get involved. So IXHL is live. IXHL, again, team is now live. This could be one of those stocks that just do really stupid things and it just squeeze and halt, squeeze and halt, squeeze and halt. We're actually halted to the downside right now. So let's see how this opens on up and let's see if traders are still willing to push this to the upside. AVGR, nothing. ITP, nothing. CTK, nothing. HYMC getting just destroyed right now. TMC, this stock is a nice little momentum play that Beth called out, and you're starting to see a little bit of a break of this downtrend. So starting to see a break of the downtrend. It's worth watching, but the main level to break back above is going to be 320 on TMC. MULN, it's just too choppy for me, guys. It's very choppy. And this is exactly how it was yesterday out of the gate. AGRI, fading and falling. RCAT, fading and falling. So right now, penny stocks, not really where you want to be, guys. Penny stocks are challenging. Penny stocks right now are hard, okay? Don't make your job hard. Simplify the process. If you see a lot of choppiness, a lot of weird price action, setups that are failing, just take a step back. Sit on your hands. Don't dig yourself a hole. Just sit back and wait for the opportunity to present itself. And right now, the best opportunity that I see coming on up would be the SPY short or UVXY long. Again, just to make sure we're not missing anything with penny stocks. Is there anything that we're missing right now at this point in time? KAVL, let's go check out KAVL. KAVL's having a nice little push to the upside. KAVL was a stock that we were watching a few weeks back, and this was a really nice momentum play. KAVL has no news. KAVL is trading 400,000 shares. Relative volume 82. We are trading higher than average volume, up 35%. It's a prior mover here on KAVL. Oh, I'm sorry, relative volume is 2. My bad. So we're trading 4 million shares, 13 million in float. KAVL right now simply just getting a bounce off that 50 SMA. That's all we're really seeing on KAVL is just a bounce off that 50 SMA. It has room to 216, but other than that, we'll have to see what it does around 216. If it breaks and holds above 216, we could see this back up to $3. KAVL is a prior mover. It had some momentum. It's simply bouncing off the 50 SMA. Let's see if this stock has enough strength to break and hold above that 216. And if it does, we could absolutely see this back up towards around $3. So let's throw KAVL on the watch list, and let's start cleaning some of these stocks on up. AGRI, is there any reason we should really be watching the stock right now at this point in time? Not really. If it starts moving on back up, we will know. MULN, like I said, it's a little too choppy for me out of the gate. Not really consistent. So I'm going to sit back on MULN for now and wait for it to really clean itself up. We got TMC trying to form a double bottom. Nice break of the downtrend. Nice retest. You have potential to 310 and 320 on TMC. You would put your stops at 286. So stops would be underneath this low, right around 286. You have a 320 target. And that's that key level that we need to break above on TMC is 320. Breaking and holding above 320, we do have potential back to 345. So I'd say right now, TMC is actually setting up really nice. Nice little downtrend break. Volume starting to move in. Low risk, great reward. If we break and hold 320, your next target would be 345 there on TMC. It's safe to say that we can take CTK off watch. We can take ITP off watch. We can take AVGR off watch for now. We're still going to watch IXHL just to see if this thing does, rip, randomly. You just got KAVL right at your 216 level. So now wait for the stock to pull back, guys. Right? The stock just ripped from 170 to 219 without pulling back. Wait for KAVL to pull back. Nice little pullback level down towards around 188. You can see it find a bottom right around 188 and form a nice little U shape. You can get that leg back up towards around high day of 219. So still watching KAVL at this point in time, looking to see if we get a nice healthy decreasing volume pullback into 188. Maybe we can take that for a quick dip buy opportunity back up to high a day. And then again, if we can start breaking over that 20 EMA, we do have some decent potential back up towards around $3 on KAVL. IXHL is now live with a drop on down towards around 73. So IXHL halted again, but it wasn't even moving to get halted, which is a little odd. Maybe that's just showing you that the stock is halted, right? So maybe that's what it's showing is upcoming. First time seeing that. So 70.85 is the halt price. Upcoming would be that the stock is halted, that the new price is upcoming, I guess, that it's currently halted. So that's what would make sense to me is upcoming would represent that the stock is currently halted because it is at $20, or I'm sorry, at 70.85. That was the halt price on IXHL. So HYMC is really trying to stay above that 190, guys. If you're looking for a reversal and for a rip and run on HYMC, your entries would be right here around $2. Your stops would be below 180, right? You're starting to see that nice higher low reversal form. We do have potential to 235, back up to 265, and then 270. Stops would be underneath the low of day, right around 180 on HYMC. You got your nice break up to the VWAP on TMC, so that was a nice little trade there. MULN, still just a little too choppy for me. Let's see if KAVL is actually going to stay above that 216 level or if it's just a false breakout. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of, is a lot of false breakouts. and then these stocks start really fading and falling. So I'm not eager to jump into KAVL here, but I definitely want to keep the stock on high watch as we do have potential up towards around $3 today on KAVL. So if we do stay above 216 and we can bounce off 216, break 234, you have 250, and then $3 as your target. So light support right here at 216, light support. Better support still down at 188. Oh, so normally it says halted? So I wonder if that was maybe a halt pending news on IXHL, but I doubt it. 953, it was halted on a circuit breaker due to volatility. So don't really know, Dougie. Not really sure. So the SPY is working its way back up to that 420, guys. High watch on the SPY. If you see it top on out, can't break above 420, and you see a lot of resistance and a lot of selling up at 420, that could be a very nice low risk, high reward short setup, right? We do have potential to see this all the way back down to 416 and 415. So you got at least 4 points to the downside at 416, right? Where would your stops be? Slightly above that intraday high. So you're going to risk about $1.50. You're looking for $4 to $5 to the downside, right? If this gets rejected, if it sets up, this could be a great area to look to short the SPY for the next leg down into that 416 to 415 level. So let's see what the SPY does here coming on up, guys. So again, not only is it retesting that 420 as resistance, you're also coming right into this downtrend. So if it does not break and hold above 420, and if it does not break and hold above this downtrend, you can absolutely take it back down to low of day. First target, 118.50, and then you have a 416 and then a 415 target to the downside. We need to sit back and relax and make sure that it's not going to break and hold above that 420 before we look for an entry there. Let's see if MULN is actually going to get that break on out and that move higher without continuing to get rejected and falling on back down into the 160. So I still want to sit back and be patient with MULN and just make sure that I'm not being the guinea pig and watch it dump on back off to 160 because it's just really struggling to get that break on out. I know it's consolidating sideways. I know it's building on up here. We have a lot of buying volume starting to move on in, but we saw the same thing yesterday with MULN. Right? Great buying volume, looking like it's going to break resistance on the third attempt, breaks out, and then it dumps on off. So just be mindful, be smart with MULN. There's a lot of resistance, and this is exactly what we saw yesterday. Consolidating, decent setup, buying volume starting to move on in, and then boom, sellers just absolutely destroy it. So be smart, be patient, really make sure that this trade is a great trade. Really make sure that this is a good time to get involved and that you're not being the guinea pig just to take an unnecessary loss. So again, at KAVL, false breakout over 216. Still watching this for to set on up for us. A nice clean break and hold over 216. That's when we can start seeing buyers really start to step back in for a nice little break over that 234 high up to 250 and then $3. KAVL is still one of the top stocks that I'm watching right now. At this point in time, still watching HYMC. See if it's actually going to hold above this level of support. Get a nice little bounce. MULN. I just want to see it actually break resistance and hold resistance before I think about getting involved with MULN. And then TMC, that was a quick little scalp up towards the VWAP. So again, penny stocks right now, not really doing too much, right? We see some action. We have stocks fighting. Stocks are trying to move higher, but they're definitely struggling, right? Definitely struggling. HYMC, not really looking all that great. KAVL, I mean, it was looking fantastic, but right now it's not looking the best. Let's wait for KAVL to set up for us, maybe back down towards around 188 support. So number one stock right now is going to be KAVL. Number two, I would say MULN, but again, I want to see MULN prove itself. Break and hold and stay above resistance. If you can do that, you're proving that you want to move higher, right? Until you break and hold above that level of resistance right around 170, I'm not touching it. We never had entries on the SPY because we just broke right above that 420. And again, if we break and stay above 420, what was our other plan? To take it long, back up to high a day, and then back up to yesterday's highs. So again, if this is a proper break and hold above 420, you'd want to be taking calls on the SPY back up to high a day, and then back up to the 424s, which was yesterday's highs. Right? If you drop back below 420, that's a sign to go ahead and just stop out. Get away, walk away from the trade. All right, so MULN finally getting a break over 170. Nice little break, great volume. Let's make sure it's not going to just drop back down below 169. Let's wait for it to come back down. Just kind of revisit 169 briefly, not spend too much time at 169, just a simple, quick retest, and then a nice follow through. Over 175, you're going to play this every 10 cents. You got 180 resistance, 190 resistance, $2 resistance, and then yesterday's highs of 209. So again, play this about every 10 cents. Definitely put yourself in a position to lock in profits every 10 cents along the way up, as you have a lot of resistance all the way to 2 and then 209. So again, team, not a super action-packed day right out of the gate, right? We're about 30 minutes in, and that's what we saw yesterday. About 30 to 45 minutes in is when things really started to clean themselves up and actually find a sense of direction. So we finally have MULN breaking that 170, trying to find a sense of direction now. We want to see the stay above 170 support. And again, you got 180, 190, 2, and then 209 resistance. Anything over yesterday's highs, you have potential to 247 here on MULN. So finally starting to get a sense of direction, getting a nice little break on up. It just needs to stay above that prior level of resistance as new support. TMC just doesn't really have substantial volume. HYMC is still cracking on down, not even looking like it wants to reverse. IXHL currently halted at 70.85. And then what we're looking for on KAVL is for this to set up at or near a level of support. I would like to continue to see KAVL pull back into that 188 level. That's what I would like to see. KAVL setting up for a nice little entry around 188 support. Right now, we're just watching MULN to see if it can stay above 169 and see if we have a decent little entry coming on up. So again, if this is a nice, healthy, decreasing volume pullback and we see buyers immediately step in off this level, that's a level that's being respected, and we should absolutely see this thing continue higher like it is right now. So again, nice, healthy, decreasing volume pullback right into 169, and then an immediate bounce from buyers, an immediate jump here on MULN. So that was a nice little retest. It didn't spend too much time. It came down to the penny and immediately started bouncing and moving higher. That was a good pullback entry, guys. So VXX is the S&P 500 VIX short-term futures. So again, it's an ETF. It's an ETF, and it's the S&P 500 VIX short-term futures. That's going to be ticker VXX. And this thing is absolutely ripping to the upside. So the VIX slightly pulling back. VXX, yeah, I'm not sure exactly as to why this is screaming to the upside. VIX short-term futures. So again, S&P VIX short-term futures. VXX. Let's do some more research on VXX. So, ETF. So, volatility, exchange, traded funds, ETFs, and exchange traded notes. ETNs can sometimes offer for example, when the S&P is rising, volatility, ETFs and ETNs like the iPath S&P 500 VIX short-term futures, VXX, will typically decline. On the other hand, when the S&P is falling, volatility, ETFs will usually rise. So again, VXX, again, I was like, that is a inverse ETF, if I'm not mistaken, right? So again, I'm not sure exactly why this thing is just absolutely just ripping to the upside right now. Again, it's an exchange traded fund. It's a VIX short-term futures ETN, exchange traded note. I'm gonna have to do more research on that. Again, I'm not 100% sure as to why we're seeing this just absolutely just rip to the upside. Unless there was some kind of, again, I'll have to just do some more research into this, guys, as to why it's just screaming to the upside. KAVL still working its way on down. Again, TMC not really doing a lot. MULN was the nice retest and the nice little rip on up, guys. So again, you had your break and hold above 169. Nice little spike up into the 180s. And you just want to simply play this every 10 cents to the upside, back up to that 2 to 209 level. So again, you just got to sit back and be patient. It took literally 30 minutes to get the best setup on MULN. But again, we got the break, the quick decreasing volume pullback, quick retest, didn't spend more than 5 seconds at that level, and immediately ripped on up about 15 cents to the upside. So not bad. I'm still looking at KAVL back down towards around 188. HYMC, I'm just not interested in it. TMC at this point in time, I'm not interested in it. The only two stocks that I'm really interested in at this point in time, obviously it's MULN and KAVL to see if this thing can set up right around that 188 level of support. And then I am watching the SPY. Right, I am watching the SPY, and so I'd be watching UVXY to the long side if the SPY does indeed start dropping on off. UVXY. Nice. Kits King grabbed MULN 160, took profit at 175. That's a trade, buddy. Good job. Good work on that. So again, I'm watching the SPY to see if we do indeed drop back down below 420. We would have potential back down towards around 418.50. And that means we could see the UVXY get a nice little pop to it as well. So again, I do not understand why, and I really want to know why because it's bothering me as to why VXX is screaming to the upside like this. All right, so he's got the SPY starting to crack on down here a little bit. You have UVXY with a quick little pop on up. Again, I'm still just I'm trying to figure this out, guys. Why in the world is VXX just screaming to the upside? It's an iPath exchange traded notes. Again, from what I'm reading, it's an inverse ETF from what I'm reading, but it doesn't actually state that in the profile, but it's stating it's an inverse ETF. So whenever the markets dump on off, obviously that shoots on up, but the markets really aren't just dumping on off right now as to why this is, just absolutely screaming to the upside on VXX. So I'm just a little confused myself. So again, I'm going to have to really do some research as to why we're seeing that take place. I know it's not solely based on the SPY. It's not like, USO, right? Or I'm not like USO. It's not like SCO, an inverse ETF against the ETF. I mean, this is not based on actually the SPY. This is a VIX, right? The VIX, short-term futures ETN. It's not even an ETF. So I'm just curious to know what that means. Why is it up 40%? It's not like the SPY's dumping. We're more sideways. So why is this thing screaming up 40% to the upside? That to me doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to figure it out and we're going to understand why that's taking place. So the ETN, VXX, it offers exposure to futures contracts of specified maturities on the VIX index and not direct exposure to the VIX index or its spot level. The index is designed to provide investors with exposure to one or more maturities of futures contracts on the CBO volatility index. All right, so I'm still going to do some more research, but that gives us a good little idea. So VIX futures. Again, that was the key word that we took away from it. VIX futures. Right, exactly. But that's the thing is, why is it up 40%, right? The market's not dumping, right? The market's not just dumping on off. We're more or less just kind of sitting sideways, right? So again, we're gonna hone in on this. MULN starting to get a decent little pullback here, guys. Support still 169 on MULN. Again, I'm just watching the SPY here now, guys. I'm just gonna focus on the SPY, right? MULN, you could absolutely see this thing stay above that 175 and get a quick little reversal for a new high a day up into the 190s. If you do crack below 175 on MULN, you're looking to come back down towards around 169 support. KAVL really just needs to get a break and hold over 216. A nice clean break and hold over 216, we could see the pop back up to 234 and then up towards around that $3 level here on KAVL. Again, IXHL halted to the downside. HYMC, there's nothing there whatsoever. TMC, not a lot going on. So again, you got MULN above 175, You have potential back up to 185, 190, and then $2. KAVL, we want to see what we saw on MULN, right? Nice break over resistance, quick retest, nice follow through, nice little rip and run. Same thing you want to see on KAVL. Nice little break over 216, simple retest, nice follow through, little bit of a rip and run. All right, guys? So definitely watch KAVL for the break and the retest over 216 as we could really start to see some action move into KAVL. But your top two stocks right now is going to be MULN that we just talked about, and then KAVL possibly coming on up. I'm just going to put my focus here on the SPY. As we drop back below 420, we're seeing a decent little three-legged pullback into the VWAP, into the 9 EMA. I would like to see if this is going to cause the SPY to roll on over back down the low a day of 418.50. So again, team, if you guys are looking at what stocks have the best potential, we said MULN for the pullback off 175. You're looking for it back up towards around 185 and then 190 next. They're on MULN. We want to see a nice break and hold above 216 on KAVL to get that going. So it's definitely a slower day, right? It's definitely a slower day. We still see the SPY kind of just chopping around a little bit, breaking above 420, losing 420, back above, back below. Looking like it's going to roll on over here off that three-legged pullback, starting to pop back up. Again, we already knew coming into this week that the SPY and the Qs and the broader market was probably going to be a little choppy, extra volume, extra volatility. So we already kind of knew what to expect this week with the SPY, right? And so again, we're seeing exactly what we thought. So let's see if the SPY can indeed start to roll on over back down the low a day, and I would like to see if we can get the SPY back down to 415. So we're still just watching the SPY here, guys. And we just can't seem to get a break and hold over that 216 with KAVL. So again, with penny stocks, guys, I'm being very smart, being very patient. We need to see breaks and holds over key levels of resistance, just like MULN. Break, nice break, great volume, decreasing volume pullback, simple retest, nice little rip and run to the upside, right? That's exactly what we want to see take place with KAVL. If KAVL cannot get that break and hold over 216, we're probably just going to sit here and chop around a little bit. So right now it's still MULN, and there's really not a lot to go off of right now with MULN. We got our break and hold. That was a great entry. Maybe a retest entry at 175. It only popped up about 5 cents though. But again, there's just a lot of resistance with MULN. So right now, this could be a nice little momentum trade for that break back up to 185 and then 190. But again, your best of the best entries would have been back down there at 169. If you missed that initial rip and run, you had a second opportunity to get involved right there at 175. So right now, I wouldn't really be touching it here, because you do have potential to fall back down to that 169 level. And then we already know what's going on with KAVL. It's just a game of patience. Really sitting back, being patient with KAVL, and waiting for this thing to really set itself up. HYMC, again, is dead right now. IXHL continuing to halt and drop to the downside. Not a lot of opportunity there. So let's just go ahead and put our focus here on MULN. Nice little momentum trade off that 9 EMA. You want to see the follow through and the break over that 184 to 185 level.